What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering. Shout out to my Mega PC, which is allowing me to upload a video to YouTube, install The Witcher 3, and record a video at the same time because I wanted to address a lot of the articles coming out of the Game of Thrones fandom. There's two main narratives going on right now. I'll probably have to break them up into two different videos as they're both pretty deep. If a lot of people were talking about how there was a petition going around with Game of Thrones fans that wanted the last season rewritten. I think it would be hard to deny that the writing on the show never really held the same standard as it once did when it had so much book material to go off of. The idea that two of the biggest decision makers on this show are now going on to work on Star Wars does not make me feel confident. Now, apparently some reporters have been asking Game of Thrones actors about this petition and about people's dissatisfaction. I will say, look, you know, Sophie Turner, Kit Harington, and some of these other people that we're going to take a look at, they didn't write the show. They were just doing their job. So I get that. But it is interesting to hear them all talk about the fandom in a way that we see very familiar in the video games industry, where the people that make the game often publicly deride the fandom. When they receive critique, they're willing to accept the endless adulation, cash gigantic paychecks, but the second they start getting criticism, it's called trolling, or it's called, harassment or something like that. But let's take a look. Sophie Turner fires back at disrespectful Game of Thrones trolls who started remake petition. If it's their opinion and that of maybe 100,000 other people, I think, that had signed it, it's not a troll. I don't think that... I mean, I thought that we were kind of done with this everybody that disagrees with me is a troll narrative, but apparently we're not. It's interesting that the actors would publicly comment. Why don't you just say no comment? Or you say something like, yeah, the fandom is really passionate about the show, and it's allows them to vent their frustrations. Why wouldn't you answer like that? And we're going to see, again, this is Sophie Turner saying, all these petitions and things like that, I think it's disrespectful to the crew and the writers and the filmmakers who have worked tirelessly over 10 years and for 11 months filming the last season, Turner shared with New York Times. Like 50-something night shoots, so many people work so hard, and for the people to just rubbish it because it's not what they want to see is so disrespectful. What? This is like, you will take our trash and you will worship us for it. Most people were strongly dissatisfied with the last few seasons of Game of Thrones. I got disinterested about 2 seasons ago when huge amounts of time were passing between seasons, and I just kind of got bored with that. I know a lot of people in the Game of Thrones fandom really still love the show, and up there with how it ended, you're probably talking about Sopranos level of anger by a large chunk of the fandom, and they're entitled to their opinion, just like the actors and actresses and crew are all entitled to huge, gigantic paychecks. While Turner isn't happy with the response from the trolls, she also noted that she wasn't surprised, given the divisive nature of the narrative's final installment. People always have an idea in their heads of how they want a show to finish, Turner admitted. So it doesn't go to their liking, they start to speak up and rebel. That's the answer you should have given. We don't owe you any respect. We don't know you. We're critiquing the show. From what I can tell, they're not talking about you personally. These are fictional characters in a fictional show. So therefore, they are owed no respect. And we see Kit Harington. Well then, Kit Harington says Game of Thrones critics can go F themselves. Naturally, the Game of Thrones finale was met with mixed response from critics and viewers, all of whom would be wise to keep their thoughts to themselves, because Kit Harington doesn't care what you all think. Oh, well, amazing. It totally sounds like you don't care. Speaking to Esquire, the IRL Jon Snow rinsed the show's critics, insisting that Thrones fam put in a ton of work into producing the final season. So, I don't think any of the critique that the crew is getting is for being lazy, although twice leaving a bottle of water in one case and leaving a Starbucks cup would prove otherwise. How I feel about the show right now is quite defiant. I think no matter what anyone thinks about the season, and I don't mean to sound mean about critics here, but whatever your critic spends half an hour writing about the season and makes their negative judgment on it, in my head, they can go F themselves. Because I know how much work was put into this, the actor said in an interview. Again, nobody's accusing the Game of Thrones cast of being lazy. This is the same response that we got from Sophie Turner. Everyone worked really hard. Okay, well, who was supposed to pick up that Starbucks cup that made it to the final edit? You know how many people had to see that and miss it for that to happen? I mean, we're probably hundreds, and nobody noticed a cup of Starbucks. Or they noticed it and didn't fix it. Nobody is saying these people didn't work hard. You are an actor. From what I can tell, most of the time is spent sitting around in a makeup chair, which, you know, I'm not going to say that they're not skilled, but let's not act like they're out there firefighting or chopping down logs. All right. So before the final episode, over 1 million fans signed a petition to have the final season rewritten and remade as they voiced their upset with how things were wrapping up. I know how much people cared about this, Harington adds. I know how much pressure people put on themselves, and I know how many sleepless nights, working or otherwise, people had on this show, the London native said, because they cared so much about it. And it was also their job. I don't think they were working for free, because they cared about the characters, because they cared about the story. Okay. If they feel let down about it, I don't give an F, because everyone tried their hardest. That's how I feel. In the end, no one's a bigger fan of the show than we are, and we're kind of doing it for ourselves. So if you're doing it for yourself, why do you care what the fandom thinks? I just think this is a bad look, and it's coming out of everybody's mouth. I'm not seeing one eloquent answer to any of this. Game of Thrones Emily Clark reacts to petition to redo season 8. Danny, this is Daenerys, right? Oh my goodness, Clark said in an interview with The New Yorker. Well, I can only speak to my character and the people that I interact with in the show, but I would have loved some more scenes with me, Miss Sandy. I would love some more scenes with me and Cersei. I would have loved more scenes between Grey Worm. I would love to see this. I would love to see that. Okay. And I just think more dissection of those beautifully written scenes that the boys have between characters, that we are more than happy and contently to sit there and watch 10 minutes of two people talking because it's beautiful. I just want to see more of that. But I'm in no position to critique the geniuses that have written 8 seasons worth of wonderful stuff. That is a really good answer. I mean, that is a fine answer, in my opinion. That's how you respond. You know, a lot of people weren't happy with her fate in the series finale, but I endorse this. I endorse this is a very good answer. Co-stars Kit Harington said in another interview that he thinks fans are in denial about Dany's arc ended. I think it's going to divide, but if you track her story all the way back, she does some terrible things, blah, 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 blah. That is a fair response. I don't know. I think once you put so much time into a show, I can understand why you can feel betrayed. I was there at the finale of The Sopranos feeling empty, but at no point did I necessarily blame the actors. They don't have a lot of creative decision-making power, I don't think. I don't think that Kit Harington is writing for Game of Thrones. I think if you want to, I think if you dissect the writing, it seems like some of these shows, they want to end badly. I don't know. I remember some of the most satisfying season finales, like in The Shield series finale. The Shield, I thought 6 Feet Under was really good. It's been done very well, but oftentimes people remember the truly bad ones. So you wonder if they write these type of series finales, for, I don't know, water cooler talk, because Game of Thrones, I think, has always been better as something people talk about as opposed to an actual show. It's a Monday morning hot topic every day at the office, around the water cooler. Everybody's talking about it. It's more fun to talk about the show than it is to watch it for a lot of people. And there are truly some historic moments in Game of Thrones that I will always remember. But I don't think that it's a good look for the actors to basically come out and be like, entitled viewers. You know, these people pay premium money to get HBO, to pay for your show, to pay your giant salaries. You should be more political, I think, when you deal with the fandom. I don't know. It's not a good look. Now, most of these people fade off into obscurity, and that's just fine by me. But that's the way the cookie crumbles, I guess. Sometimes they don't get a happy ending. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.